Mr Speaker, I've never been so delighted to stand to my feet and to support a bill that's going to help tens of thousands of young Kiwi families pull together a deposit for their home, and I'm absolutely delighted that the Labor Party has stated that they are going to oppose this help for homeowners wanting to own their own home. Mr Speaker, I firstly want to deal with the record, because the first point that the Labor spokesperson said is, where's the progress of the government building more houses? Well, let me give the member the numbers. When we came to government, New Zealand was building just 1,000 houses a month. 1,000 houses a month, the lowest level for 10 years in November 2008. And you know what we know in the last month's figures? We're now building 2,000 houses a month. Exactly double the number from when we came to government. And how can any member opposite say that's anything other than a positive supply response from our government? And Mr Speaker, and then we come to the issue of house price inflation. Let me give the members opposite the numbers. During their 8-9 years in government, house price increases average 16% per year. Mr Speaker, in 1 year, house prices grew by 29% in a single year, and the Labor Party said, oh, that's not a crisis. Well, I'd like them to explain this. Why is it not a crisis when under a Labor government, house prices go up by 28% in 1 year, and this year the average increase over the last 12 months is 8% increase, and that is a crisis? I don't understand. I think it's just straight politics. And then the third point is this. There are 3 independent measures, Mr Speaker, of housing affordability. 3 independent measures. Massey University, there's the Demographia Index, and there's also the index put out by Roost. Every one of them shows housing affordability today is 30% better than what it was when Labor was in government. 30% better. So what's this housing affordability crisis from Mr Twyford? I'll tell you why. Because one of the most important factors that affects housing affordability is interest rates. And because of the dopey interest and economic policies of the previous government, New Zealanders were paying 11% interest when we came to government, 11%. Today they're paying 6%, and New Zealand interest rates will be lower for longer because of the responsible economic policies of this government. Mr Speaker, I want to highlight a couple of features also where Mr Twyford was wrong. He said that the Australian policy has failed and we're doing the same. No, we're not. I'll tell you very importantly why. This policy is targeted at doubling the support for new homes. And what the Reserve Bank said, what the Treasury said, and what MB said is that the government should put its support into building new homes. And the second thing they said was that we need to get the market to work better and to build more homes that are affordable. And that's why the HomeStart grants are specifically targeted at getting the building industry to produce more product that is affordable. And why members, well, Bill English never opposed, it's been very supportive of this, and the member is just, I could go through Mr Twyford's speech and go through 8 untruths that he said that I each noted down as he went through his speech. But the further only are 8 points where he just said simply things that are documented to be known to be untrue. The further point I would make to the member is that this policy is going to allow 90,000 Kiwi families on modest or lower incomes, that is, under $120,000 if you're a couple, under $80,000 if you're a single person, to be able to access their KiwiSaver funds and receive a HomeStart grant to get into their home. Now, what is it that Labor Party members hate about helping modest income New Zealanders pull together a deposit for a home? Why is it they're opposed to it? And I've got another question for them. When Labor brought in the KiwiSaver policy, when they bought in grants that they did during their period in government? Why was it that it was a good policy when Labor did it, but a bad policy when National does it? Why didn't Mr Twyford give his speech that grants for first home buyers is a bad thing when they did it themselves when they were in government? It's just that we are being more generous. That to me is a total double standard and a lack of integrity in terms of their policy position. Mr Speaker, what this government's doing is it's just the same old story from Mr Twyford. He's concerned and is keen to cry crocodile tears at every opportunity over the issue of home ownership, and every time the government comes into this parliament to do constructive things to address it, he's opposed. So when we come and bring in the housing accords and special housing areas legislation, he's opposed. When we come in to reduce the duties and tariffs on building products, he's opposed. When we come, no, you voted against the budget. You voted against the budget, and that was the measure that actually enabled that provision to come into effect. And then the third time, when we come to this parliament to help Kiwi families pull together a deposit to get into a home, they are opposed again. And I just simply say, Mr Twyford is the member for problems around housing affordability. We are the party for solutions, and the House should support the bill. Well done.